Hi guys, it's Mark Zicree, Mr. Sci-Fi, also known as the author of the Twilight Zone Companion, with your Twilight Zone Minute. And because it's about an astronaut going out into outer space, I thought I would shoot it with some of my spacesuits from my spacesuit collection. So the Tholian Webb spacesuit was used in the George Takei episode of Star Trek that we did. It's got a life mask of Leonard Nimoy that I've painted up to look like Spock. The yellow spacesuit was from Outland, including the helmet. And this one, the white one, was from the TV show Defying Gravity, and it's got a toy space helmet based on Men into Space, and it's a space helmet style that I had as a kid. So there you are. So the episode we're going to talk about today is People Are Alike All Over, and sometimes the Twilight Zone titles would have irony to them, and this is certainly one of those. It's got a great bunch of actors in it. It stars Roddy McDowall, who previously had been a child star at MGM back in the day, and later he would star in a number of the Planet of the Apes films, and the first one, of course, which was co-written by Rod Serling. So he was always wonderful, always distinctive, and really great in this, to say the least. And you also have Paul Comey in it, who was a very well-known actor that was in tons of TV shows, and Vic Perrin as one of the Martians. And if his voice sounds distinctive, it's because he was the control voice a couple years later in Outer Limits. He narrated Outer Limits. And then last but certainly not least is the beautiful and wonderful Susan Oliver. And Susan Oliver, again, a couple years later in 1964, this was like around 1960, in 1964 she would star in the first pilot of Star Trek, The Cage, opposite Jeffrey Hunter. And if you remember the green Orion slave girl, well, that's one of the many roles she played in this episode. And ironically, the Twilight Zone episode, maybe it was based on a short story by Paul W. Fairman, who was a science fiction writer and magazine editor, and Rod Serling adapted it into a script. And it's one of the first examples I can remember of sort of an alien zoo where humans are held. And interestingly enough, this is something that you'd see a lot in science fiction after that. So definitely it's in The Cage. Roddenberry was a fan of Twilight Zone. Maybe he saw this episode and gave him the idea for The Cage, in which humans are in a sort of an alien zoo with other creatures. And then, of course, in Slaughterhouse-Five, both the book and the movie, you have Billy Pilgrim in an alien zoo, imprisoned with an attractive young female. And then in more recent years, the Orville did a riff on that as well. So it proved very popular. But this is a very strong episode, a very good one. And again, it's important to remember that in 1960, we hadn't sent men into space yet. We hadn't, we didn't know what was on Mars. We didn't know what was out in space if we ventured outward. And so anything was possible one way or another. And but Susan Oliver, Paul Comey, Vic Perrin, Roddy McDowall, I mean, they were fixtures in film and TV. You would see them all over the place back then. And they were solid actors, very, very strong. And it's a very fun episode with a very inevitable ending, and one that I like very much. So that's about it for now. That's your Twilight Zone Minute. We're doing them every single day, a different episode of the Twilight Zone in order. And if you want more Twilight Zone, go to twilightzonecommentary.com, where you will be able to find out all about the 104 episode commentaries I'm going to be doing, and how you can be part of it. And that's about it for now. And thanks very much, and we will talk again soon. Bye, guys.